Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Martineau, and I'm the CEO of Home and Community Care Support Services. I'm pleased to be joining you today from our Brampton office and would like to begin by acknowledging that this is land on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and before them, the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron, and Wendat. We also acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous people that now call Brampton home. Welcome to our second annual Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Celebration. Today, we are broadcasting across the province from our Brampton office to the homes of our very special guests, the caregivers we are recognizing today. We also have many staff logging in to cheer on the work of caregivers on this special day, which happens to be National Caregiver Day. I am honored to give a warm virtual welcome to the more than 100 caregivers and their families and friends who have joined us today from all across Ontario. From North Bay, Timmins, Emo, and Cookstown in Northern Ontario to Chatham, London, Cambridge, Hamilton, and Port Dover in Western Ontario, from Woodbridge, Milton, Concord, and Markham in Central Ontario to Whitby, Lansdowne, Ottawa, and Renfrew in Eastern Ontario, and everywhere in between. Thank you for joining us at this event. We know for many of you, this is not always easy to take time for yourselves, and we thank you for spending time with us today. On behalf of the staff, leadership, and the Board of Directors at Home and Community Care Support Services, I'm honored to be here to recognize and to highlight the important role caregivers play to enable people to live their lives in their communities despite the impacts of age, illness, or disability. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome members of the Butterfly Spirit Drummers, Josephine Lavalle, Onondaga from Six Nations, and Marcella Blanchard, Mohawk of the Grand River Turtle Clan from Six Nations, to open our event in a good way. Thank you to the members of the Butterfly Spirit Drummers for sharing this moving gift with us. As many of you already know, Home and Community Care Support Services aims to provide exceptional care wherever our patients call home throughout Ontario. Our mission is to help everyone be healthier at home through connected, accessible, patient-centered care, but we cannot do it alone. It is only through support of caregivers like those joining us this afternoon that our patients, your family members, friends, and neighbors are able to remain living safely at home where they want to be. Our health system relies heavily on caregivers like you. According to the Ontario Caregiver Organization, there are an estimated 4 million family caregivers across Ontario, providing almost 3/4 of all patient care, with a third of caregivers spending 10 or more hours a week providing care. While these numbers are staggering, I'm sure they are not surprising to you. We witness these efforts, your efforts, every day. Caregiving is physically and emotionally demanding, and for many of you, it has become a major part of your identity. You are the unsung heroes of our healthcare system. That is why we established the Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Program in 2023, with the aim of recognizing, supporting, and empowering caregivers. Throughout today's program, we will be highlighting 9 different but equally inspiring and heartwarming caregiver stories. Each story is an incredible example of how kindness, dedication, and selflessness can make such a meaningful difference in someone's life. The stories you hear today are a testament to the dynamic and ever-changing journeys that caregivers and families across Ontario are living each and every day. At any one time, they can be experiencing happiness and hopefulness at a small success, fear and uncertainty over an unknown trajectory of a disease or illness, loneliness and isolation over the at times insurmountable weight of caregiving, or immense grief with the loss of a person they are caring for. We will see all of these examples and more today, and we endeavor throughout this process to ensure the utmost respect for the caregivers and families that have opened up their lives and their homes to us as part of this program. To each and every one of you joining us today, your contributions are beyond important. We see you and we thank you. Premier Ford and Deputy Premier and Minister of Health Sylvia Jones wanted to ensure we shared their recognition and appreciation with all the caregivers recognized through our 2024 program. With that, you will notice their greetings in our event program, and we're pleased to share this video message with you now.
Hello everyone, I'm Sylvia Jones, Ontario's Deputy Premier and Minister of Health. On behalf of Premier Ford and our entire government, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you participating in today's event, and thank you for everything you do to provide care and support for people every day. Today, we celebrate you on National Caregiver Day. I want to congratulate everyone who is being recognized as part of the Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition event. You care and support family members, friends, neighbors, and community members as they face health challenges, offering comfort and care when it is needed most. Thank you for being key partners in our healthcare system. You are all truly remarkable. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government is making record investments to build a more connected and convenient healthcare system for Ontarians at every stage of life. We recognize that modernizing and expanding access to home and community care for patients and their caregivers is a key part to providing more people with the right care in the right place. That is why our government has made changes to make it easier to find and navigate home care services and move seamlessly between providers throughout their healthcare journey, so our loved ones can access the care and support they need to stay in the comfort of their own home longer. because the only thing better than having care close to home is having care in your home. Congratulations again to everyone recognized and celebrating today for going above and beyond. And thank you for the impact you have had on our communities. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate you. I wish you a very enjoyable and successful event. Stay well.
Now I would like to introduce Home and Community Care Support Services Board member, Linda Franklin, who is here with me in our Brampton office today to bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Directors and to help me introduce our recognition categories and the incredible caregivers being recognized under each. Linda?
Thanks very much, Cynthia. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Board of Directors of Home and Community Care Support Services, I cannot express how privileged and proud I am to be here with you to share this special event. I would also like to acknowledge my colleagues on the board, who all recognize and acknowledge the importance of today, National Caregivers Day. They've all been a part of the activities leading to today in various ways, whether through the review panel responsible for selecting the 9 incredible stories we will be sharing today, or in supporting the special video segments that will tell the stories, or through their attendance here today. I know I speak for all of them. Joe Parker, our board chair, members Kate Fife, Carol Annette, Stephen Plurd, Glenna Raymond, John Beardwood, and Ann Campbell, when I share how honored we are to be a part of today's celebration. Most importantly, thank you to our special guests for attending this afternoon, the caregivers who we are here to celebrate, their nominators who wanted to acknowledge the outstanding care and dedication they provide, as well as family and friends. We are thrilled to recognize all of the outstanding caregivers who are the cornerstones of their families, friends, and neighbors' lives. It is through your efforts that we are able to build strong communities and a sustainable healthcare system. While we cannot be together in person, your presence is very much felt, and we thank you, the nominators and caregivers, for sharing your inspiring stories with us. I also have the privilege of introducing our first category of the day, the Caring and Sharing category, which recognizes caregivers that are giving back to their communities by helping guide others through their journey by sharing knowledge and experience gained from their own journey. We received so many incredible examples under this category, and I am honored to introduce our first Caring and Sharing recipient, Jennifer Irwin from Lucknow, Ontario. We felt it was really important to start with this special entry, and I will now turn it over to Daryl Nance-Cavell, one of our Vice Presidents of Patient Services, to share Jennifer's story.
Hello, my name is Daryl Nance-Cavell, Vice President of Patient Services in the Southwest and Waterloo-Wellington geographies. It is my honor to share the special recognition for caregiver Jennifer Irwin, a mother of 4 who tragically passed away unexpectedly in September 2023. This caregiver was submitted by Care Coordinator Michelle Fear from our Southwest geography, who felt Jennifer's story and her inspiring dedication as a caregiver deserved to be memorialized through the Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Program. Jennifer's oldest son, William, has lifelong medical, cognitive, and physical needs that require intensive 24-hour support and care. Jennifer always had a positive attitude and outlook on life. Due to limited staffing and health human resources, she and her husband, Matt, would take turns doing an extraordinary job caring for William, day and night. In addition to caregiving, Jennifer was very involved in her community and her children's sports teams, ensuring William could attend their games as well. Jennifer was an incredible advocate for her son. Both she and William shared a love for music. Jennifer worked with the organizers of Lucknow's Music in the Fields to make the event accessible so that William could attend, allowing them to enjoy the event together a few times, even camping overnight in the family's trailer. Jennifer helped many others navigate the special needs world. She was an inspiration and a shoulder to cry on for other parents in similar circumstances and would provide support when their children were in the hospital or going through difficult periods. She taught, encouraged, and helped other parents to persevere and thrive, particularly through her involvement with the NICU online support group. Most of all, Jennifer showed the world how to be amazing, selfless, caring, involved, and fierce mom, advocate, friend, and community member. There are not enough words to describe this exceptional caregiver. Thank you to Matt and the Irwin family for allowing us to recognize and remember Jennifer in this way.
What a truly inspirational story. Thank you again to Jennifer's family for allowing us to memorialize her in this way. And thank you to Care Coordinator Michelle Fear for using this opportunity to recognize and honor Jennifer posthumously as an incredible caregiver. I'm also pleased to announce our next recipient in the Caring and Sharing category, Elizabeth Marie Chambers from St. Catharines, Ontario. I will turn it over once again to Daryl Nanscavell to give us Elizabeth's story.
Our second Caring and Sharing caregiver story was submitted by Care Coordinator Mira Dave from our Hamilton Niagara Haldeman Brant geography. To anyone that has interacted with Elizabeth, it is clear that she is a pillar of strength for her family and the community at large. Elizabeth and her husband Keith are primary full-time caregivers. They care for Elizabeth's elderly mother who is transitioning into the later stages of Alzheimer's disease, while at the same time caring for their 5-year-old son who is medically fragile and complex, and their eldest son who began his life as Elizabeth's younger foster brother and is a cancer survivor with many lifelong special needs. They do this with the support from their daughter, who is an incredible young caregiver in her own right. In addition to caregiving for her family, Elizabeth takes time out of her very busy schedule to support other families with special needs children. Elizabeth is always willing to connect with families who are experiencing challenges navigating the healthcare system or share her experience with the family managed home care program in order to help make positive changes. She continuously demonstrates her dedication to giving back to the community through her volunteer efforts, of which there are too many to count. She speaks truthfully and courageously, especially when she is advocating for children with special needs through various speaking engagements. Her devotion and time spent with patients and families is phenomenal. As many of you will appreciate, Elizabeth refers to herself as not just part of the sandwich generation, but as a club sandwich caregiver, recognizing there are so many layers to being a caregiver for such diverse ages and needs. In the spirit of sharing knowledge and resources, she even runs a blog, Lightkeeper Life. And with that, I'd like to close on this last reflection from Elizabeth. I called our blog Lightkeeper Life because that is my hope and goal, to illuminate the pathways for families leading complicated lives and those who help them. I think it is so important to realize we are not perfect and should never be perfect, but that is okay. When you've fallen into the muddy trenches, to admit that you are not okay and need others to help support you as you pull yourself up and turn that mud into a rock-hard foundation to stand up upon and try again. What an incredible woman and caregiver. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being a beacon of light for your family and others.
What an incredible example of caring and sharing. Thank you, Elizabeth, for everything that you do to care for your family and to give back to other families who are navigating similar journeys. It is no doubt a delicate balance providing loving and enriching care to your family and finding the time and energy to volunteer, participate in research, and be an advocate and a voice for others. We're just getting started. And I don't know about you, but I'm already reaching for the tissues, and I'll be keeping them close at hand as we continue. I'm pleased to introduce our next recognition category, Caring with Courage. The Caring with Courage category recognizes caregivers who, through encouragement, empowerment, and support, directly brought about positive change to their loved ones' quality of life. Once again, we are recognizing 2 caregivers under this category. The first Caring with Courage recipient is Angela Smith from the Central Ontario region. I'm going to turn it over to another one of our Vice Presidents of Patient Services, Janet Wright, to share Angela's story. Janet is also a co-executive sponsor of today's event and has been an integral part of making today happen.
Hi, my name is Janet Wright, and I'm the Vice President of Patient Services for the Mississauga-Halton Home and Community Care Support Services. I'm honored to be here today to share stories of great courage. Our first Caring with Courage story was submitted by Care Coordinator Azmina Habib Verji from our Central Geography. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that at the family's request, we have changed the names to maintain their privacy. Angela is an exceptional caregiver. She is a 75-year-old mother of 3 adult children, 2 of which have sadly passed away from a rare genetic disease to which she has also lost her husband. Angela tirelessly looked after her younger son, Joe, who succumbed to the disease after 18 years, and more recently, her older son, John, who succumbed to this disease after a 10-year struggle. Angela advocated among social and health systems to ensure both her sons were well cared for and had access to the services they needed. Despite struggling with her own medical issues, Angela always put her children's needs first. When John's condition deteriorated, leaving him bedridden, she wanted him to remain at home where she could care for him herself. She ensured all services and equipment were in place for him so that he could be comfortable among his loved ones. While Angela knew that this condition would eventually take his life, she did not stop fighting for him and providing her love and support. Although suffering from a devastating condition, John's passing came suddenly, and Angela remained strong in her faith, taking comfort in the knowledge that her sons and husband are at peace. Care Coordinator Azmina shared that Angela has strong faith and will continue to fight as a true mama bear for her precious children and grandchildren. In speaking with Angela, her unwavering devotion shines through, and it is clear that she truly embodies the notion of caring with courage. Amidst long-standing heartache, she is full of immense gratitude. It was an honor getting to know Angela, and we thank her for allowing us to share her story with those that are also experiencing the impacts of a devastating hereditary disease.
Wow, I'm truly in awe of Angela. To face unimaginable tragedy and yet still show incredible strength, determination, and grace is truly extraordinary. Thank you, Angela, for allowing us to share your story as you grapple with grief and loss. A selfless action that will serve to provide hope and connection to others experiencing a similar journey. Our second recipient in the Caring with Courage category is another example of finding strength amid uncertainty. I'm pleased to congratulate Melanie Denis from Leeds in the Thousand Islands, Ontario, as our next recipient under this category. I'm going to turn it over to board member Stefan Pleur to share Melanie's story.
Hello, my name is Stephen Pleur, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors for Home and Community Care Support Services. J'ai l'honneur de vous présenter aujourd'hui l'histoire de Madame Mélanie Denis. Our second Caring with Courage story was submitted by Care Coordinator Jordan Verjet from our Southeast Geography. When submitting this caregiver for recognition, Jordan shared, "I can think of no one more deserving of receiving the above and beyond caregiver recognition than Melanie. Through my time working to support her family, it is my opinion that she exemplifies caring with courage. Raising a child is a great blessing, but most can agree that it comes with certain challenges and stressors. Those difficulties are immensely amplified when raising a child with medical complexity. Melanie is an incredible mother of 2 children with medical complexities. Jordan met Melanie in the summer of 2021 while the world was struggling through a global pandemic. Despite the additional challenges brought on by the pandemic, the well-being of Melanie's children always came first to her. She continued to bear the heavy brunt of near total hands-on care to both children many times per day, all by herself. While providing such a high level of care led to chronic physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion, she never wavered. Melanie encourages, empowers, and advocates for her children to get the most out of their lives despite the challenging circumstances. She transformed her home into a supportive environment that allowed her children to almost seamlessly transition from their home to virtual school in order to meet their educational needs. While many children in similar circumstances experienced developmental setbacks or stopped attending school entirely, her oldest son was excelling and proudly shared his presentation board displaying his favorite musical composers. Her children were not only progressing, they were thriving. On top of keeping life at home functioning like a well-oiled machine, Melanie goes above and beyond for her children. Through the family-managed home care program, she is able to meet her children's personal care needs. She communicates with many medical specialists from different teams and hospitals, including some outside Canada. There's no doubt that without Melanie's ongoing effort as a strong, resilient, and compassionate caregiver, the lives of her children would be vastly different. She brings about positive change in her two sons' quality of life daily. In 2021, Melanie's youngest son was nonverbal, but by March 2023, to her care coordinator's great amazement, he was speaking. This does not happen by accident, but with the support of an intentional, courageous parent, Melanie's efforts are simply incroyable. In speaking with her care coordinator, he shared that we refer to Melanie as Supermom. We're all amazed by her and are thankful we could share her story with you all today. Merci Mélanie et bravo. Vous êtes un exemple à suivre.
Thanks very much. Truly an amazing example of courage, perseverance, and a mother's devotion. Thank you very much, Melanie, for sharing your inspirational story with us. Our next recognition category is Partner in Care. This category recognizes caregiving partners who provide long-term and continuing support to an individual in their home or community. Our first recipient in this category is Emilio Gallia from Etobicoke, Ontario. I'll turn it over to Tina Lee, who is our Chief Quality, Safety, and Risk Officer, as well as Vice President of Patient Services with the Central Region. She will share Emilio's story.
My name is Tina Lee. I'm the Chief Quality, Safety, and Risk Officer and the Vice President of Patient Services with the Central Region. In my work, I meet so many incredible caregivers. I'm honored to be here today and be part of this event and have the opportunity to highlight the first Partners in Care story submitted by Heather Epp, our care coordinator from Toronto Central Geography. Emilio has lived and cared for his wife, Carmen, through her Parkinson's disease journey, which began more than 20 years ago. She is now living in long-term care, and he is anxiously waiting to join her on the spousal reunification program. In the meantime, he visits her every second day to support and encourage her. Emilio and Carmen came to Canada from Malta in 1985. They were both teachers there, and once here, she worked as a coordinator for the Gifted Children's program in the school board. When Carmen was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in the 1990s, she and Emilio became actively involved in the current research and medical treatments that were available. She enrolled in a medical trial at the Toronto Western Hospital. Emilio was critical in supporting this effort as it fell on him to manage the pumps and equipment daily, record data, engage caregivers, and obtain supplies. As Carmen's disease progressed, Emilio took on more of the physical care needs outside of the community support hours available, as well as taking on the management of financial and accommodation decisions that had previously been shared responsibilities within their marriage. They have 2 children whom they supported through advanced degrees. Now Harvard PhD graduates, they are both working in the medical research world due in part to their mother's diagnosis. Both parents are tremendously proud of them, but they do not live nearby. As her disease progressed, all of Carmen's daily caregiving has fallen to Emilio, who also has his own health concerns. In 2020, they moved into a retirement home together. Later in 2023, Carmen had to move to long-term care after an acute illness led her to needing a more advanced level of care. Until her recent move to long-term care, Emilio has been by Carmen's side day and night, ensuring her needs are met through his strength, knowledge, and advocacy. He's transported her hundreds of times in her wheelchair to many specialist appointments and has written many letters to advocate for better access to community supports and services for those with Parkinson's. He looks forward to being by her side day and night again soon. Emilio is a shining example of a true partner in care. It is also clear that care coordinator Heather has been an integral partner for this family. She's built an incredible relationship with them and was able to recount in great detail this family's history and journey in her submission. Thank you, Emilio, for allowing us to share your inspiring story.
Emilio, you are clearly an incredible partner to Carmen. Your unconditional love and dedication is so evident. And thank you, Heather, for recognizing Emilio. You can certainly see the incredible relationship they all have. Our next recipient in the Partner in Care category is Michael Bartlett from Port Dover, Ontario. I'll once again turn it over to Janet Wright, who will help share Michael's story.
My name is Carol Annett, and I'm a proud member of the board. And it is a real privilege to be here today to celebrate such spectacular caregivers. Our second Partner in Care story was submitted by Care Coordinator Mira Dave from our Hamilton, Niagara, Haldeman and Brant geography. You may recall Mira's name from one of our earlier stories. Thank you, Mira, for taking the time to recognize more than one deserving caregiver. The unconditional love between Diane and Michael is clear to anyone who meets them. The couple were married in 2012, and shortly after, Diane suffered an acquired brain injury that resulted in catastrophic brain damage and substantial decline in cognitive and physical abilities. It took Diane 2 years of intense rehabilitation before she was able to be discharged home from the hospital. Over this journey that has included several medical setbacks, Michael has showed his unwavering support to his wife. He instinctively knows when to push Diane to keep going with her exercises and daily tasks, and when to step in and help her. His ability to predict her needs and provide care that promotes her physical and emotional well-being is nothing short of incredible. He is always positive and upbeat, encouraging Diane and supporting her to muster the stamina to keep going every day. Michael's exceptional dedication and caregiving skills, as well as efforts to empower Diane, have resulted in her ever-improving quality of life. In reaching out to Michael, he shared a little more about his experience. Only a few survive a catastrophic burst of a brain aneurysm, but following years in hospital and rehab facilities, Diane was able to come home. While hospital administrators were strongly suggesting that I arrange for a nursing home for Diane, I knew that her being home was the best choice. With the Family Managed Care program, I was able to find caring professionals who genuinely enjoy coming to work with Diane. Despite being told that Diane's prospects are very limited, thanks to the very high quality of care she receives, those prospects continue to grow brighter. Michael said, whenever someone suggests that I'm doing something above and beyond, I am reluctant to agree. I'm doing what in my mind must be done, and having a strong and positive support system helps immensely. Mira, their care coordinator, shared that it is hard not to get emotional when thinking about their story. You can just see the love between Michael and Diane, and visits with them nourish your soul. We should all be so lucky to find a partner and caregiver like Mike.
What an amazing story and an amazing couple. I just want to acknowledge our speaker was Carol Arnett from our board of directors and not Janet Wright, as previously mentioned. But thank you, Carol, for sharing that story. Michael, you truly embody the notion of in sickness and in health. Thank you for being an incredible champion and partner for Diane. Our next category is for caregiver team. This category recognizes a group of people, a care team that come together to support an individual in their home or community. Our recipients under this category have demonstrated incredible dedication and support not only for their loved one, but for another, to ensure everyone is cared for while they are caregiving, making them an effective family care team. I am pleased to announce the amazing Sherez family from Kitchener, Ontario as our caregiver team recipients. Wife and mom Robin Sherez, sons James and Christian, and daughters Renee and Fiona. I will turn it over to Karen Lumsden, Vice President of Quality and Risk, to share their story.
Hello, my name is Karen Lumsden, and I am Vice President of Quality and Risk at Home and Community Care Support Services. And I am really pleased to be part of this celebration today. The stories that we will hear throughout this session are the kinds of stories that have inspired me to stay working in this sector for as long as I have. One of those stories is the story of Robin and her family. The story was submitted by family friend Christine, husband Philip, and care coordinator Betty McKinnon from our Waterloo Wellington geography. Robin's care and compassion allows Philip to remain in his own home because she supports him receiving the amount of care that he needs. He was diagnosed at the age of 54 with ALS, and 3.5 years later, he now requires 24-hour care. Robin's support for that care is provided in a way that allows him to maintain utmost control over his needs. Their 4 adult children, Renee, Fiona, James, and Christian, are also incredibly supportive. They are now grown up and they have their own lives and their own families, but they continue to visit often to help provide care, and they take turns staying at the house to support Philip so that Robin can take a few days away to rest and recharge. They all schedule their lives around the ever-growing responsibility of the caregiving role to allow Philip to remain at home and to support one another during family milestones, including their son's wedding in September 2023 and the arrival of new grandchildren. Robin shared recently that this journey is like a marathon, and she is mindful that they need to pace themselves. I am told by those who visit their home that you cannot help but feel their warmth, dedication to one another, and feel inspired as you walk in the door. Their strength is shown through their faith and their love for one another. In 2020, the Sherez family took part in a documentary to share their story as they navigate this difficult season of their lives. Philip refers to his journey as the terrible delight of losing everything. This family's resilience and unconditional love radiates throughout their story. And within this terrible delight, they have found hope, joy, and purpose.
Just incredible. Thank you, Robin, James, Christian, Renee, Fiona, and of course, Philip. Your story is inspiring and a testament to the power of family. You show incredible strength and courage, and you inspire so much hope through your actions and convictions. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It's now my privilege to introduce our 5th and final recognition category, which is Young Caregiver. This category recognizes the extraordinary efforts of a friend or family member under the age of 30 who has gone above and beyond to support the needs of a loved one. As I'm sure you can imagine, the nominations we received under this category were very powerful. Once again, we are pleased to recognize 2 recipients under this category. Our first recipient is Alicia Porambel from Toronto, Ontario. I will turn it over now again to Janet Wright to share Alicia's story.
Our first young caregiver story was submitted by Palliative Care Coordinator Anne Haley from our Toronto Central geography. Alicia was an outstanding caregiver for her mother, Nella, who passed away from cancer in May 2023. During her mother's illness, Alicia made it a priority to be by Nella's side, even choosing to attend school online. While many grade 10 students are worried about weekend plans, Alicia's only priority was her mother's care and comfort. In speaking with Alicia, she shared, "My mother was my best friend. When we immigrated to Canada from Romania, I didn't have many friends, but I had my mom." Alicia's favorite memories were just being together, whether it was going for walks, cooking and baking, or introducing each other to new music. Alicia shared, "She was more than just a parent. She was everything to me. She loved life, and that was a beautiful thing to see. I just tried to be more like her." As a very close family, Nella's husband, son, daughter-in-law, and mother provided ongoing support. However, Alicia was there around the clock, making sure her mother was comfortable and had what she needed. Alicia was always there by her mother's side to help ensure her medications were administered and that she was well looked after. She always wanted to be the first to get the news of any changes in her mother's condition or needs. Even at such a young age, she showed great empathy and maturity beyond her years. Now 16, looking back, Alicia says she has no regrets. "I didn't want to miss a moment with my mom." Alicia's unconditional love, dedication, and compassion really shines through in the exemplary care she provided to her mother. It's also clear just how devoted they were to each other. What a truly inspiring story. Thank you for sharing your memories with us, Alicia. And thank you, Anne, for recognizing Alicia, truly an outstanding and courageous young caregiver.
What a remarkable and courageous young woman. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say I'm inspired by your strength and the beautiful love you shared with your mom. You are so deserving of this recognition. I now have the great honor of announcing our final recipient and our second young caregiver, Jessie Baker from Emo, Ontario. I'll turn it over to my fellow board member, Kate Fife, who will share Jessie's story.
Hello, my name's Kate Fife. I'm a director on the board of Home and Community Care Support Services, and I'm joining you here today from Timmins, Ontario. As a Northerner, I understand firsthand the challenges that we often experience living in the North. I very much appreciate this opportunity to recognize the important and exceptional role of our caregivers across the province, especially here in the North. Our second young caregiver story was submitted by palliative care nurse practitioner Nikita Matichuk from our Northwest geography. In March 2021, Todd lost his battle to cancer. His dying wish was to pass away at home, a remote cabin that is only accessible by boat or ice road north of Emo. With the hospital's visitor restrictions in effect due to COVID-19 pandemic, Todd was even more determined to spend his remaining days with his family by his side. Todd's family and friends stepped up. Their cabin was still in the process of being finished, but the family was determined to make Todd's wish a reality, even working to get the unfinished kitchen as functional as possible. The remote location and isolation added additional challenges. As the cabin could only be accessed by ice road, in-person services were not available. This meant that the family and friends dismantled Todd's hospital bed and equipment to transport it across the ice road and assisted in setting it up in their cabin. As soon as they were set up with high-speed internet and the necessary materials and medications, Todd was able to be transferred home. Wife Carrie provided personal care, and their daughter Jessie took on the nursing role, all while trying to enjoy the time they had left together. With no formal nursing experience, under the supervision of palliative care nurse practitioner Nikita, Jessie was able to provide the needed pain and symptom management. Through remote monitoring and video conferencing, Jessie inserted a subcutaneous port For those not familiar, this is a device that is inserted to provide ongoing medication. In addition, Jessie prepared and administered all medications, even flawlessly preparing medicines in a glass ampoule. Nikita shared this specific medication has a snap top. When breaking off to draw the medication, even experienced professionals can cut themselves or break the glass, yet Jessie did this perfectly. Nikita and Jessie spent countless hours together over video, despite never meeting in person. In speaking with them, you can feel their strong bond. Jessie shared, "I greatly appreciate all Nikita did for my dad and our family during our difficult transition. I'm truly grateful that Nikita fought for us and worked with us to find a way to bring my dad home. My parents had spent the last 3 years slowly building their dream home together. The fireplace you see in the photos was put together piece by piece by my mom and dad. The initial shock of it, the denial, and the obstacles we faced getting him back home from Thunder Bay and then back home to the lake. At times, it felt like everything worked against us until those last 7 days we spent together as a family at home. Suddenly, everything felt simple again, and my dad's transition from his life was peaceful. In a lot of ways, it was a gift. The thing about grief is, it weighs so heavy on those who carry it. We sometimes forget to remember that the balance of loving so deeply is this grief we carry. If that's the price I pay for having a dad so amazing and present as mine, then I carry it with pride." Wow, what an incredible story. Thank you, Jessie, for allowing us to include your family story and sharing such a powerful reflection.
Wow, Jessie, I am so amazed by you and the beautiful way you and your family came together to honor your father's final wishes. To not only have to face the reality your father's illness and prognosis, but to take on medical tasks with only virtual support and guidance is awe-inspiring. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition and acknowledgement. What a powerful and inspiring afternoon this has been. I feel truly privileged to have shared in all of your stories. When I reflect on the stories shared today, what is clear to me is that these are the family's everyday reality. What seems like simple actions often done without giving another thought truly results in remarkable impacts, whether it is honoring a loved one's wishes, shifting priorities, and making time. While we were only able to highlight 9 of you today, there are many more stories of resiliency and unconditional love. Please join me as we take a moment to recognize them all. You'll notice that their names are being shared on screen. I'd also like to thank everyone who took the time to submit a caregiver for recognition, whether the nominations came from Home and Community Care Support Services staff or community members. Thank you for helping us highlight these important stories. Before we close out the recognition portion of today's event, I'd also like to thank the members of the Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Program Steering Committee, which includes a few members of our community of advisors, as well as staff from across the organization who enthusiastically and passionately volunteered to help make this event a reality, all with the intention of honoring caregivers. Our celebration of caregivers does not end here. We have heard from you that you want to hear and learn from one another. The inspirational stories and learning shared today and throughout the submission campaign will be carried forward through the Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Program and shared on our website. In the coming weeks, we will be adding to our Caregiver Resources page to include tips and tricks, words of encouragement, and more that you have shared to help support others on their own caregiving journeys. Through this program, we will continue to support and engage with caregivers across Ontario throughout the year. We look forward to providing opportunities to recognize, connect, and empower caregivers that are supporting their family, friends, and neighbors accessing home and community care. In fact, we would like to start right now with a facilitated engagement session to wrap up today's Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition event. I'm pleased to turn it over to Trish Nelson, Vice President of Communications and Community Engagement, to kick off the engagement portion of the event. I would also like to mention that Trish is another co-executive sponsor for today's event. Thank you, Trish, and over to you.
Cynthia, thank you. I'm so thrilled and honored to be joining everyone this afternoon and to take this opportunity to hear from you, our caregivers. In planning for this program and event, we reached out to patients and families to hear what they would like. What we heard loud and clear was that caregivers wanted to hear from one another. You want to understand what is working well, what are some tips and tricks that you rely on to get through the day, and most importantly, to know that whatever it may be that you're feeling, you're not alone. During the next few minutes, we have a few questions that will gather your feedback and with the goal of sharing what we receive on our Above and Beyond Caregiver Recognition Program webpage. Some of you may have noticed this section on caregiver learnings and resources on the webpage, and today we hope to add to that information. If you're watching us live, if you go to the top of your screen, you'll see a double thought bubble with a question mark in it where you can submit your questions, and we'll be engaging in a conversation virtually with all of you that are joining us today. If you're joining us on the recording, that option unfortunately is not available, but that doesn't mean you can't submit your thoughts, your questions via our website. There's an opportunity to submit your thoughts there. So if you're joining us by video, you absolutely can take part in this. Unfortunately, if you're joining us by phone, you're not going to see or have that little thought bubble to submit your question, but you will be receiving a post-event survey that you're welcome to include your thoughts and reflections there as well. So with that, why don't we get started with one of our first questions? And while that comes up on the screen, if anyone has any trouble during this portion of the event, please use the number on the slide and one of our staff will get in touch with you. So the first question we wanted to talk about today is, how could others help caregivers? So for example, what do you find the most valuable or supportive when your family, friends, or neighbors ask how they can help you? And I'll be the first to say, I often say that and say, let me know what you need. But sometimes it's really better to say, let me do this for you. Let me do your laundry for you. Let me pick up groceries for you. What are things that you find helpful as a caregiver when you have friends and family offering to support? So we'll just take a couple minutes for folks to put their responses in. And I'm sure I've had someone say to me once that, that's a really nice question to ask, but it puts the pressure on me as the caregiver to decide what to do. And so sometimes it is helpful, I think, if people do make that offer to provide or give or run an errand for you. And if that's not helpful, then let them know what they could do for you, because I'm sure they're trying to help and they're trying to support you and your loved ones as well during probably what is a very difficult time. So don't be shy, put those questions in or your comments in. We've heard some people say that sending a check-in text is sometimes helpful. Often there's a group thread sometimes that I know caregivers sometimes set up that makes it easier than telling the same story or giving an update multiple times. They set up a thread and sometimes just a random check-in to say, hey, how's your day today? Or how's this afternoon going? Because you never know what the day is for anybody, but it just gives that opportunity for a quick touch base if they have time, and certainly recognize that there may not be time to respond immediately. And so being very understanding of that if you don't respond right away, that they understand and no pressure to do so. Elizabeth, thank you. You'd submitted open conversation. It's okay to admit that you're not sure how to help or are afraid of doing something wrong for the person that you are caring for. Try letting the caregiver know what you're good at and what could you do for them. If you love to bake, how about a fresh loaf of bread or some cookies once in a while? Fresh, hot things are always appreciated. So I think that's a great one, Elizabeth. Thank you for sharing that. Watching for some more coming in. Maggie, seeing anything on yours? Your screen? I know nowadays there's a number of these food delivery services that are out there, and I know sometimes that's helpful. I've offered that to friends of mine that were going through a caregiver period and say, look, could I send, not an endorsement, but could I send HelloFresh to you? Would that help in preparing a meal, or could I prepare the meal for you and bring it over? Sometimes that's really helpful for people as well, when they know they don't have to worry about preparing dinner, that something will kindly arrive on their doorstep. And actually, we've had someone, I've used this actually, a meal train. One friend started a meal train for us so that a hot cooked meal arrived 3 nights a week. A number of people have given our kids gift cards for restaurants or coffee as a special treat to take a break. That's a great idea. The meal trains are fantastic. There's a great website that people can go in and sign up and indicate what they're bringing, so you don't have 5 nights of lasagna or chicken casserole showing up at your door. Teresa, thank you. You suggested a phone chain of good friends that would be helpful, and picking up bread, eggs, milk. Phone trees are amazing. And nowadays, with everyone having a cell phone, there can be a quick response, whether it's phone or text, to get that information to people to help out. So that's fantastic. Great ideas. Let's see what else we have coming in here. Matthew, thank you. Depending on your comfort level, I find offering to help with appointments can take a big weight off people. And that's a great one. I mean, I know sometimes a caregiver wants to be with their loved one to kind of hear what the information is coming from the healthcare provider, but sometimes it's, you could make an offer just to go and pick up the prescription. If there's a new prescription that's needed, that might be helpful. So absolutely, giving assistance that way is always a great help. Oh, and Elizabeth, thank you. Another great suggestion. For caregivers, I think it's a great idea to create a list of all the tasks they can do, and ask one friend to look at it for you to see if there's anything that could be delegated out. But do this during a time that you're not overwhelmed, and it's okay to ask for help. And boy, that's so true. It is okay to ask for help. And I think so many of your probably friends and neighbors and colleagues want to help. They're just not sure what to do. And so having that to-do list, I think, is a great help for you to be able to identify what you need, and for them to be able to help in a way that helps you the best as well. Let's see, what else do we have? Someone else helpful to share in supervising a loved one, giving the caregiver a needed break. Wow, that's a great one, because sometimes caregivers, they just want to go for a walk around the block, or a quick trip to the mall, even just something, and to have someone trusted that can take care of your loved one while you just step out for a bit is really so important. Kind of that phone call meal train, another idea of having a group of individuals that you're comfortable with to call upon for help as needed. Oh, this is a really good one. Having friends who can come to do outdoor chores, fix the lights, clean the barbecue, all the things that this person has said they found it hard to do, or to find the time to do. All those little things that keep life, quote, normal, are so important. And those are things that probably you don't realize you need until you realize that the barbecue's not working. And so if you have that, again, that list of things that you might need coming forward, and these would be great ideas if we'll put these on our website, because some of you may be thinking, I've never thought of that. So some great thoughts there that we'll make sure that we're able to share. And if you're able, as you're submitting your questions, we're seeing a couple come in as anonymous. If you're comfortable just giving your name, that way our team can follow up with you. If your suggestion, if someone says, look, I'd like a little more on that idea of a supervising a loved one, can I reach out to that person? If you're able to give and you're comfortable with that, please leave your name there so that we can follow up with you. That would be really helpful. Have another one that's come in. Booking a time to listen can be the greatest gift, and hearing the challenges that people are going through. Sometimes a gift isn't a thing. Sometimes a gift is your time. And so saying, look, I'd like, if you're free, if you'd like some company, I'll come over from 2 to 2:30 and we can just chat. I think that's a great opportunity. Elizabeth, thank you. Also being aware of your health before coming over. So important. a small cold for you could be a hospital trip for the family, for the loved one, the caregiver. So very good point, Elizabeth. Make sure that you're healthy as you're going over, and make sure that the family is comfortable with you coming over as well. Very important. Maybe we'll give just another minute if there's any other thoughts. And again, if you come off the event today and you think, oh, I should have said this, that's okay. There will be the post-event survey coming out that you'll be able to add those additional thoughts that come to mind. And again, through our website, always welcome any feedback, any thoughts that you may have as well. So it's not a one and done deal today. This is just kind of getting the conversation started. And if there's ones that you see, if there's comments that are posted that you think, I'd like to comment on that, please do. You'll notice that as the question or the comment is posted, you'll see underneath the blue bar where the comment is, there's a thumbs up question, which if you think it's a good one, you can give it a thumbs up. Or there's, again, the little bubble with the 2 lines in. That gives you the opportunity to comment. So all you need to do is hover over that box or over that thought bubble, click it. You can type your comment in, and then I believe it says submit. Could be wrong on that, but if you just click on that, that'll then submit the question or the comment below anyone who has submitted. And got another question coming in. Just one second. Robin, thank you. Robin indicated that her comments were accidentally anonymous, but mine were about the meal train and gift cards for kids, as well as the outdoor chores, fixing lights, barbecues, etc. No problem, Robin. Thank you for letting us know that. And thanks for those great suggestions. So important. Hey, do we want to go on to the next question? And again, you can continue to submit any thoughts you might have on that first question. So our second question, what do you do on the hard days to look after yourself as a caregiver? This could be small, simple actions or strategies that you find helpful to get through a difficult day. And so again, what do you do for yourself on those hard days? What do you do to look after yourself? And it could be something small. It could be a simple action or a strategy that you have that helps you to get through those tough days. And it could be a tough hour, not even a tough day. So we had someone, and I think this might be in response to the first question, but happy to pose it. One of our folks online said, I do find that as time goes on, friends and family disappear. How would you suggest reaching out again? And so I think that's kind of a general question. So if it's, the months, the years can be long in caregiving. It's not necessarily just, a couple of weeks. And so friends and family do kind of go back to their quote unquote normal lives, and suddenly they're there at the beginning and then they kind of disappear. And how do you then reach back out to them to say, hey, just check in and kind of do a reverse? They've been checking in on you. Maybe, how do you do that reverse check-in to say, we miss seeing you. We miss seeing you come by. Someone else also suggested, I think, again, maybe part of question 1, but helping to identify grants and resources that caregivers may not be aware of within their community, either highlighting supports available or assisting in submitting their applications, which can ultimately help alleviate financial and mental health burdens, or receive needed in-home accessibility accommodations. So I think that kind of speaks to question 1, ways that you can help. And absolutely, I mean, if you've been through the world that a caregiver is now experiencing, maybe it's that opportunity to say, hey, here's what was shared with me when I was in a similar position. Maybe it'll be of help for you. And doing what you can to find those, rather than just saying, go check out this website. Maybe check out the website yourself and then be able to pass the information along to I'll call them a new caregiver, someone who may just be stepping into that role. I think this is a tricky one. I think Maggie just said, I think this is a tricky one. I think it is. We don't always put ourselves first. If you're a caregiver, we don't always put yourself at the front of the line, shall we say. And maybe that's a flag, that's something to be able to offer to a caregiver is, hey, let me do this so you can take some time off, so that you can take that walk around the block, so that you can go to that yoga class, can read that book, watch that episode that you've been wanting to watch of the old Friends TV show or something. But are there things that you found that are helpful? Alicia, nice to see you submitting. Alicia, she's one of our young caregivers. And so Alicia, you submitted, I think one of the most important things you can do as a caregiver after a long day is just to recenter yourself and realize that you're human too. And it's your first time going through this process as well, and that it's okay to feel sad. Try giving yourself even 10 minutes of doing something you enjoy, reading, watching TV, going outside. Alicia, that's a great suggestion. Had someone else submit that this is where my community is vital. My struggle with accepting this award is that I do not do it alone. It is those around me that keep me going and that help me be who I need to be and enjoy it. People disappeared and then my backbones stepped forward. I found other caregivers who became friends and friends and neighbors who became family. When a hard day is here, the truth is I can't take care of myself. I can't even breathe easily. This is where they come in because I let them in on a regular basis. They know when I'm drowning and then they can let me lean. What a wonderful comment. Thank you. So we've been hearing from a few of our recipients. Thank you, Elizabeth, our caring and sharing recipient, and thank you, Robin, from our caregiver team. Really do appreciate you submitting your comments. It's wonderful. And Carla has submitted that for what do you do on hard days to look after yourself? Being outdoors, forest bathing, and being with my chickens. That's fantastic. I hope your chickens give you eggs as well. That's awesome. Thank you, Carla. And Michael has shared regarding how friends and family can help. My wife doesn't require 24-hour care, but does require someone to be there 24 hours. Untrained friends and family can help me get away from home to recharge just by hanging out. Then by coordinating with the PSW team, we can make sure all of the periodic tasks that are required or periodic tasks that require training are covered. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Michael. And just a reminder, Michael was the recipient of our Partner in Care. Jude suggested, never be afraid to call our professional caregiver support agencies. So true. Like the Alzheimer's Society, Crisis Services, or Ontario Caregiver Organizations. They're trained professionals that can help. And Teresa, that's such a great suggestion. I mean, sometimes you don't need to get away. You just need someone else to talk to. And so the Alzheimer's Society, Crisis Services, or Ontario Caregiver Organizations, great suggestions. Thank you for sharing those. And Robin's also shared, Robin, thank you. The simplest thing I do is stand outside for a few minutes to breathe in fresh air and take a moment to be alone before stepping back in to pick up the care. I've also made great friends with my local Starbucks, starting the day really early before the PSW arrives so that I can have some time alone to grieve, collect my thoughts, practice my faith, and get ready for another day. So important, Robin. What I hear you say is you grab those moments when you can. When they present themselves, you grab them or you make them for yourselves, as you said, by getting up early before the PSWs arrive. Elizabeth, thank you. You said you weren't sure if you put your name on the comment, but not to worry. And Elizabeth also indicated, gives myself permission to be a mom, a sister, and a daughter, not just their caregiver. So very important. Caregiver is one hat that all of you wear. You wear so many of them, and important to recognize when maybe you have to take the caregiver hat on and put the mom hat on for a period. So thank you for all of those comments. Again, opportunity with the post-event survey to add to that. And we will be posting all of these on our website under the caregiver resources. So certainly an opportunity to go back and review some of the comments that have been made. So let's move on to our third question. And I think this one's going to be one that we'll get a lot of feedback on. What's the best piece of advice you'd give to a new caregiver? And this could be something that you wish you knew when you first became a caregiver, perhaps something you've learned along the way, or maybe even something that you wish you knew that you still have a question in your mind about. So what's the best advice you would give a new caregiver? I think I've learned now that it takes just a couple of minutes. People need to think about it, get their thoughts together before they start putting the response in. So we'll give you that time for sure. But really looking forward to hearing what the advice is, because I think that's so important from people. And so Elizabeth has suggested taking courses, and I think maybe this might have been back to number 2, Elizabeth, around things that you do for yourself, but taking courses when I can has helped. Learning skills from CanChild courses like Envisions, I will say, Enabling Visions and Growing Expectations, and the F-Words programs, the ACT for Caregiver programs, and the SCALE programs from Ontario Caregivers Organization have helped me keep my head above water. I've learned how to realize that taking time for self-care is not selfish. It's actually helping me be a better caregiver. So I've convinced myself self-care is caregiving. Oh, that's so true. So true, Elizabeth. Thank you. So just looking forward to some more comments coming in. So again, what's the best piece of advice you'd give to a new caregiver? This could be something you wish you knew when you first became a caregiver, something you've learned along the way. And funny enough, what we hear when we ask this question to our patient and family advisors is ask for help. That's the big one. We have, many of you may be aware, you may be a part of it. We have a community of advisors within Home and Community Care Support Services who are an incredible group of individuals, many of whom are either caregivers now or have been caregivers. And when we talk to them about bringing this event together, we ask this question, and I'm pretty sure it was almost unanimous to say, ask for help. And I think that's probably a common theme through all of these questions, that asking for help is okay. Asking for help is what people are wanting to offer. And so make sure to do that with people you're comfortable with, and when you've got things that you're not sure about. People are there to help. So Carla said, ensuring the new caregiver has a social support or circle outside of their caregiving role. And Carla's so important. I mean, I can absolutely appreciate and understand caregiving becomes a full-time job. But it's important to have that group outside of caregiving that gives you kind of the day-to-day life that isn't necessarily connected to caregiving, just for even if it's a few minutes a day. Elizabeth also submitted some advice. I love this video of Tom Hanks saying he has survived Hollywood by remembering this too will pass. Things are bad, this too will pass. Things are good, this too will pass. It helps me stay in the moment. So true, so true. Matthew, thank you. It can be incredibly daunting, but explore the resources out there. There is so much assistance available. That's so true. And Matthew, that could probably be an area too, where if people are saying, how can I help? Ask them to search out some resources for you. Let them know that you've heard about this great website and you're looking for this type of information. And I bet there's friends out there who would just dive right into those websites and find the information you need, and maybe even information you didn't even know you needed. So that's a really great suggestion. Any other thoughts from people? This has been really insightful. As I said, we will be posting all of this on our website, and certainly the goal of that page not only is to put information there for individuals, but it's also to help caregivers have a starting point, to know where to begin their journey and give them some things to think about. It's overwhelming when you first step into that caregiver, and you may not even realize you're in the caregiver role now. You're just doing what you're supposed to do, as we heard a lot of people say. But you are being a caregiver, and there's things that are available to you. There are resources that could help you in your day-to-day and could help your family as well. So certainly that the resources and information that we're posting on our webpage is just a start of that. There's so much more that could be available for you as well. And we encourage you to reach out to our community engagement team, who are involved very closely with our community of advisors, who can perhaps point you in the right direction, maybe even put you in touch with one of our advisors who've been through a similar experience. So it's always a resource here that we've got for you. Alicia again shared that the best piece of advice I could give is to take each day a second at a time. Allowing yourself to feel and go through the emotions allows you to heal your heart a millimeter at a time, which doesn't seem like a lot, but a year from now, it will be big. Alicia, that's so true. That's so true. Thank you for that. And Robin, you also shared with us a comment, and it just disappeared on me, so I will pop right back. There we go. Robin said, ask lots of questions, say yes to all the different kinds of supports offered, from meals to equipment to in-home help, and pace yourself for a marathon instead of a sprint. So, so very true. Now let's pop over to our fourth question. What is something that you'd like healthcare providers to know about being a caregiver? This is a really important one. I think as healthcare providers, we know one side of the caregiving. We don't know your experience, your individual lives that are happening. But as healthcare providers, what are things that you would want us and them to know as a caregiver? And that's, I would suggest, not only within our own home and community care support services, but within hospitals, within some of the organizations that were mentioned earlier. We're all healthcare providers in one way or another. And certainly knowing what as a caregiver is important for us to know is really something we'd like to hear. Angela, thank you. My best advice to a new caregiver is to trust your gut. You know your loved one better than anyone. This will lead you down a path where you can take advice and massage it specifically to suit your loved one. That's a great, great suggestion. Thank you. Elizabeth, another comment. Thank you. And I suspect this might have been for the last question. And you said, find your people. Other caregivers have been essential at helping me get through things, and know that other people may be speaking out of fear. The first time I had someone pull their child away from mine and tell me they would rather die than live like I do, I was hurt. I then realized it was her fear that was coming through. So I built a bear to hang on my son's wheelchair with all his unique abilities and extras on him. And this has given so many an open invitation to come and learn about him and us. And the conversations have been so enriching. Thank you, Elizabeth. It's unfortunate that sometimes as the caregiver or the family member, sometimes you have to make other people feel comfortable. And it's heavy. It's heavy to carry that for sure. But in the end, if it helps you and your family and your loved one connect with other people, sometimes that's a big step to do. And again, maybe something that some of your other family members or colleagues or friends that know you well could actually help in and help to do that for you. So really want to give folks an opportunity to put in their comments regarding what is something that you'd like healthcare providers to know about being a caregiver. And maybe it's also, we can maybe expand that to not only healthcare providers, but to anyone. What would you like your neighbor to know about being a caregiver? What would you like your colleague at work to know about being a caregiver? This is a really important opportunity to share some information with us and to share with others, because as I said, we'd like to be able to post this for others to see. So Elizabeth, thank you. For healthcare providers, please know that the relationships are key. Trust is the basis for all teamwork. Family-centered care and strengths-based focus can make all the difference in the world. Be open to learning and open to talking. I love to tell all service providers, you have textbooks, but we have storybooks. Oh, I love that. If you won't take the time to learn our story, then your textbooks aren't going to be effective. We have to work together in order to make progress. I just want to say that again, that you have textbooks, but we have storybooks. I think that's so important. And I hope that the event today, and we were sharing some stories from all of our recipients, and I hope those stories coming forward will be helpful. I know that we've got a number of folks on the event today, but we're also recording this and we'll make it available that as we post that, and I'm pretty sure we'll have some healthcare providers coming to see what today's event was all about, and hoping that they hear that loud and clear as well. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing that. And so I think we'll go to our last question. And as a caregiver, what are some supports you have received that were helpful or beneficial? And I think this could be, it's kind of similar to maybe one of our earlier questions, but what were some of the things that either thinking back or that even at the time that you found that were really beneficial and helpful in your journey as a caregiver? Here we go. Actually, I think this one might be from our last question, which is just great. And that was about what would you like health service providers to know, or health providers to know? It's important for medical teams to know that we don't have ready access to our children's medical files, even if we're prepared to pay for the information from hospital records as is required. Also, it's very difficult for family to manage complex medical information between hospitals since they don't share electronic records. We have specialists in 3 different cities, and the coordination of the information needed is difficult in both time and complexity. That's so true. That's so true. And I think, unfortunately, there's probably providers that think that you as the parent or the loved one will know what information is needed at your next visit, or what information that new health provider needs. And that's unfair. That's not fair to you. And so that's really important. And I think that's probably one that we'll probably share with our ministry colleagues, and just to kind of reiterate the importance of the electronic records. I know there's a lot of work happening that way. It's not that it's not there, but we need to spread that and make it more accessible for everyone. So thank you for that suggestion, a really good one. This question was actually from our advisors because they want to know what's working well. So as a caregiver, again, what are some of the supports that you've received that were helpful or beneficial? Yes. So for the supports, it could be organizations, groups, websites. There's been a lot of great information shared, and again, if you're not comfortable or if you don't have access to submit, there will be the post-event survey coming out that we welcome your comments to any of the questions that were posed today. And at any point, anything that you may like to share via our website would be welcome for sure. Caregiving is as someone commented, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And so what we are trying to do is provide that information, that opportunity to share information via the resources on our website. And just want to thank everyone who submitted their comments, their answers. We've had just a couple more pop in, which was great. Having respite care, whatever the source, is a game changer. Matthew, that's right. So that would be what's helpful and what resources are important. And yes, respite care is key. Elizabeth's also submitted financial support can be massive. A gift card for gas or a Visa card for hospital parking, coffee, tea delivery, and actually being heard has made a huge impact. Elizabeth indicates she's now works in the field of research because I'm treated as an equal. I've had a chance to feel like an individual again, that my caregiving goes beyond just what I'm doing in my own home. So thank you for those comments. Oh, we've had another couple come in. Family managed care, family managed home care, as some of you may know, it has been very helpful because I can provide stability in the care of my children by having regular care providers, and stability means safety in our world. Our PSWs have been the key to everything working in our life. So thank you for that. A great feedback. Teresa, thank you. One that we haven't had yet. Journaling is always helpful. It provides a record to capture issues, either medical or just day-to-day activities. And I mean, I know you see journaling talked about is so many different ways at different points in people's lives, but I can appreciate as caregiving, it gives you that moment of time of what was going on, but also gives you that opportunity to look back on things that may have been helpful at the time that you've forgotten about, or things, as we talked about earlier, that you'd give advice to a new caregiver, that opportunity to look back on your journal and say, you know, I wish I'd known X at that point. And so a really great suggestion. Thank you for that. And Robin submitted as well, regular check-ins by the nursing team, various providers like dietitian, OT or occupational therapy, care coordinator. That helps us feel supported. Absolutely, Robin. I mean, you are part of the care team, as are the nursing team and the various providers as well. So absolute check-ins, even if they're not scheduled to be there, just to check in and see how you're doing, I think is great. Thank you for that. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. This was something new that we tried this year. For those of you who may have taken part in our events previously or other events like this is something new for us to try, and we hope it was helpful. I know we've probably got some learnings. We've got some great ideas that came forward as well that we'll probably look into a bit more. We'll definitely be sharing with our community of advisors to let them know the feedback that we're hearing. But thank you. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for being open with us. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. Really appreciate it. It's been great exchanging with you all virtually. And I just want to thank you and again, congratulate you for the recognition you've received today. And thank you for everything that you do as a caregiver for your family, for your loved ones, and for healthcare, the learnings that you share that help healthcare across the board. So with that, Cynthia, I think I'm going to turn this event back to you.
Thanks, Trish. And thank you to everyone who contributed. Before we close, I'd like to once again welcome Josephine and Marcella of Butterfly Spirit Drummers to share with us a song they have selected in honor of those joining us today. Thank you to Josephine and Marcella for sharing their gifts of song and reflection. What a wonderful way to acknowledge so many on National Caregiver Day. This concludes our program for today. Thank you again to our incredible caregivers and everyone who joined us today to help share gratitude and praise.